Are your prompts lean or fatty? If you've played with generative AI like most of us have, you've probably noticed that the interface is interesting. It's a chatbot, right? We can talk to it, we can chat with it, we can ask it to do things, and these things are called prompts, right? We prompt it to do something. We either ask it to create an image or we ask it to create some writing. And what it does is it goes back and it uses all of the data that has been imported into itself by the people who are training the algorithm. And these people who are training the algorithm are using human data that human beings have created. And this is what it's using in order to create itself, right? So the output that you're getting is the output from humanity. And I've mentioned this before in a couple of different things. People are wondering, how does AI work? How does generative AI work? It's basically like a superannuated autocorrect. It's taken in a lot of information that human beings have created. So everything from my works to your works to Shakespeare's works to everybody. All of these works have been pulled into this large language model. And when you ask it a question, it will respond in a way that it thinks you want to be responded to. Right? So basically what you're doing when you're talking to it is that you are asking the sum total of the human input that's been pushed into it for a response. Right? So in some ways, you are actually speaking to humanity. That's right, folks. You are talking to humanity. You're talking to other humans. You're not talking to an AI. An AI is just putting these things together in a way that it feels you want it to be put together based on how things have been put together in the past. So when you are chatting with your AI, you're actually talking to humanity. You're talking to the history of humanity. So what you can do when you're chatting with the history of humanity, when you're asking it to do things, is that you can ask for it to provide you something very specifically. And this is what prompt engineering is all about. If you haven't heard about prompt engineering, the concept of prompt engineering is almost like software coding, software development. If you want an AI to do something really specific for you, you have to engineer your prompt in such a way, and the prompt is the thing you just type into the chatbot. You have to engineer your prompt in such a way that it will give you exactly what you're looking for. So say, for example, you wanted it to generate a blog post on why a certain city, I don't know, Seville, Spain, is great for digital nomads. So you would go in there and you would say, create a blog post draft at 800 words on why Sevilla, Spain is a great place for digital nomads. Go out there and blah, blah. And you would engineer a prompt specifically for it to then generate something for you. Now, when I mentioned at the beginning, are your prompts lean or fatty? It's not talking about barbecue, because I personally love fatty brisket. It's talking about how lean your prompt is. So do you write a prompt and have a conversation with the AI, or are you really specific when you write out your prompt? And if you ask me, this is a difference in innovation. It's difference in how much do you want the rest of humanity to be able to contribute to your work. So here's what I'm saying. If you go in and you have a very specifically engineered prompt, like the one I was mentioning to you earlier, then it is going to give you a very specific response. And the more specific your prompt is, or the fattier your prompt is, the bigger your prompt is, the more exact your prompt is, the more you're putting the AI in a box. You're saying, stay within this box. And every time I give you this prompt, the more specific your prompt is, the more engineered your prompt is, then I want you to cut those things out that do not have anything to do with the specificness in the prompt and create something that's more exacting. So for example, let's use images for an example. Let's say you wanted to create an image of a man and a woman on a date, right? So you could just go in there and put a very lean prompt, man and a woman on a date. And a man and a woman on a date could be anything. They could be at a carnival, they could be at a restaurant, they could be on a roller coaster, they could be eating ice cream, it could be anything, right? So it will go out and try and figure out what you expect to see. So what it's going to do is it's going to use a huge amount of data to try and figure out or come up with many assumptions based on what humanity has already been said about a man and a woman on a date, and present that. Whereas if you said a man and a woman on a date in a restaurant, white tablecloth, candlelight, blah, 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 you were really, really specific of what you're going to get. You're going to get that specific image. Yes, you're going to get that specific image because you've cut out all the other things you want the prompt not to be. You've cut out all the things you don't want the image to be. And that's where the skill lies in prompt engineering, is to be able to create that prompt with such accuracy that you get exactly what you're looking for from the image. And that is what I call a fatty prompt. The problem with the fatty prompt is that the more specific you are with the image, the less and less leeway the AI has to insert something new and interesting and different into the image to create an innovative image. So the question is, do you want innovation? Do you want humanity to weigh in on what you're coming up with? Or do you want to be really specific about what you want to export? And personally, I'm on the side of less specific because I'm really curious about what the AI is going to come up with. Because the AI could come up with something super interesting that I may not have thought of when I gave it that really specific prompt. So if you do prompt engineering now and you're trying to figure out how to create a prompt that will get you exactly what you're looking for. So if you're really, really specific about it, that's totally okay. I completely understand. But on the flip side, why not allow humanity to step in and put in its 2 cents and say, you know what, let me try a lean prompt. Let me try something really slim to see what it comes up with. What does humanity come up with? It depends on how much of you want in the prompt, how much you want to sway the AI in the direction you want it to go in. Because I have to say to you is that I've used both fatty prompts and lean prompts. And sometimes the lean prompts can provide such beautiful imagery, beautiful imagery that you can't get from a fatty prompt. Say, for example, sometimes I say an iconic representation of X. So, for example, right around Christmas time, I said an iconic representation of joy. An iconic representation of joy at Christmas time. An iconic representation of religious joy at Christmas time. And it created some amazing images that I would never have able to come up with myself if I gave it a fatty prompt. So I say to you, give it a try. Experiment. Try some lean prompts. Let humanity back into your prompts. Make it a little more unfettered. Let the AI come up with some decisions on its own. Who knows what interesting stuff you can come up with. That's it for me for today. See you next time, and until then, don't forget to think future.